Hello and good afternoon, friends. I hope that you enjoyed our video from this morning and I hope that you were able to get your work done. Let's review quickly what Mommy and Daddy should be taking a picture of to send to Miss Lindsay. So this morning in your journal, you should have written your name, not Miss Lindsay's name. Your name should be at the top of your paper, and then you should have January 7, 2022. That is today's date, January 7, 2022. Then you should have drawn 1, 2, 3 circles, 1, 2, 3 squares, 1, 2, 3 triangles. And then if you had room, you can do it on the same page, but if not, on the next page, you should have 1, 2, 3 rectangles. So we drew 4 different shapes today: a circle, a square, a triangle, and a rectangle. Make sure Mommy and Daddy take a picture of your work and send it to Miss Lindsay so that I can give you your credit for today. Now it is time for our Read Aloud. Today we're going to read a really fun story about designing and building. Every day that we're in school and we use our blocks to build a castle or a house or a mansion or a bridge, we are designing in our minds and then using the blocks to build what we want to build. So we're going to read a fun story about that today. So let's get our bodies ready for our read aloud. Make sure you're in a nice, quiet place so that you can hear and see what is going on in the story. So, eyes are watching, ears are listening, voices quiet, bodies calm. Very good. I think we are ready to go. And we always start by talking about the parts of a book. What are the parts of a book, Miss Lindsay? Well, we have the front cover, back cover, spine, and pages. What can we find on the front cover, Miss Lindsay? We can find the title. The title is just the name of the book. We can find the name of the book on the cover, and we can even find the author's name and the illustrator's name. What does the author do, Miss Lindsay? Do you know, friends? The author writes the book. He or she writes all of the words that are in the story. That's the author's job. And then we have the illustrator. Does anyone know what the illustrator does? Right. The illustrator draws the pictures that are in the story. So whenever you read a book and you see beautiful pictures inside, the illustrator is the one who drew those pictures. So both of those names have a job. The author writes the words and the illustrator draws the pictures. And friends, we can make predictions about our books. What is a prediction? A prediction is just a smart guess. We can use the title of the book to guess, what is this story going to be about? Like, I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, we read a story called The Snowy Day. And we could have made a prediction. What will this story be about? Maybe it will be about a snowy day. And guess what? After we were done reading, we were able to check our prediction and find that it was about a snowy day. We can also use the picture that's on the front cover of the book to make a prediction. On the front cover of The Snowy Day, we saw a little boy playing in the snow. So we could have made a smart guess or a prediction that this story is going to be about a little boy playing in the snow. Alrighty, friends, let's go ahead and see what we're reading today. Today we will read Design It, Build It by Susan Ring. Who is Susan Ring? She's the author. She wrote the book. She wrote all the words in the story we're going to read today. Alrighty, friends. So make sure you find a nice quiet place to read our story. Let's get started. Here we go. Uh-oh. This is an ad. We don't want this one. Here we go.
Design It, Build It, read by
Miss Valencia.
Building things is fun. When you build, you put parts together to create something new.
Did you hear that? When we're building something, we take small parts and put them together to create something new. So when you are in class and you're using those building blocks and you're stacking them this way and that way and this way and that way to create maybe a castle, you're building. So we are all builders already.
Yeah.
Builders follow plans to build big things. They must build them the right way. Different kinds of things are built from different materials. A kite needs to be light enough to do what?
What does a kite need to do? It needs to fly in the sky, in the air. So, do you think we could build a kite out of something heavy, like a bottle of water? Do you think this is going to float through the sky? Wah, wah, wah. We have to use the right materials for the things that we want to build. So something light, like a piece of paper, that might fly or float around in the air, right? So we don't want to use something heavy to build a kite.
Why, that's right. A long bridge needs to be strong enough to support many cars and
Whoa, look at that bridge there. So remember the kite that we just talked about, we need to use something light and airy so that it can float around in the air. But a bridge like that, cars and people travel on that bridge, and cars are pretty heavy. So, do you think we would use something this light to build a bridge? Wah, wah, wah. We need something sturdy and heavy to support all the cars and the people that will be on that bridge.
people. There are many ways to put together a building. What materials were used to make these buildings? Which are in hot places?
Ooh, can you guess? Which one of those places look like it's somewhere hot? If you said the picture with the pyramid, you're right. Pyramids are usually found in deserts. That place is pretty hot, right? What do you think would happen if we built this igloo in the desert? If you said it's gonna melt back into water, you are correct. The igloo has to be built someplace cold, very cold, in order for the ice to stay ice. If we built an igloo in the desert, I don't think it would stay an igloo very long because the heat would melt it back into water.
The sand.
That's called a pyramid. Good job. Now, which is in a cold place? And what's that called? An igloo. Very good. Architects help turn ideas into real structures. They draw plans and make models. What is being designed on this computer?
What do you see there on that computer? Look closely. What does it look like they're designing? They're designing a house. So sometimes we make plans before we build things, just so that we can see it before we start to build it, before we design it. So For example, if we are in class and we say, we come up with an awesome play idea. Hey, Miss Lindsay, I want to build a house using the blocks. And Miss Lindsay says, well, let's come up with a plan to design it first. So here is our plan. We're going to write it down. I'm going to take one block and put it just like that. And then I'm going to take another block and stack it right next to my first block. And then I'm going to get a triangle block and stack it right on top. And look, that looks like a house. So now that we made our plan, we designed it on paper, we can go in real life and build it. So Miss Lindsay would go and grab those 3 blocks, put them together, stack the triangle block on top, and then look, we have our house made of blocks. How cool is that? We are designers and builders already.
What are they making here on the computer?
The house.
A house. Very good. Sometimes architects borrow ideas from nature. The architect who designed this stadium studied soap bubbles and spider webs. This helped him design the roof. So there's where they're blowing the bubbles. And that's a what?
Spider web.
A spider web. Architects must think about where a building is placed and how it will be used. Why was this house built on stilts?
Do you know? What she said was that architects or builders, they have to think about where they're going to put a building and how it's going to be used. So take a look at this house here. What do you notice? Is that house sitting flat on the sand? No, it's not. It's sitting on stilts. Stilts are like little wooden blocks that hold the house up high so that it's not touching the ground. Why do you think they put that house up in the air and not on the ground? What do you see in the background? I see water. It looks like the ocean is behind there. Why do you think that house is on stilts instead of flat on the sand? What would happen if that water came up onto the sand right into the house? If that house was on the ground, straight on the sand, the water might come and wash the house away, and we don't want that. So architects made a great idea to put the house up into the air and put it on the stilts so that if the water comes, it just swishes on under the house, but it won't ruin the house. Isn't that smart? That was a great idea.
Why do you think this house on the beach was
Let's see
built
if
on
we were
stilts?
right.
Because they're out of town.
Well, that's a good guess, but if the water comes up here to the house, these stilts are going to help protect what? The house, so that it doesn't flood or wash away, right?
Right.
Yeah. That's why they're close.
Why does this hospital need a strong flat roof?
What do you think? Take a look. I see a hospital. Most times when we see a building like a house, it has a roof over it, and most roofs are shaped like triangles. Why do you think that building, that hospital, has a flat roof instead of a slanted roof like a house? Take a look at this in the background. What is that there? It's a helicopter. It looks like that helicopter is coming in to land on top of the roof. What do you think would happen if it tried to land on a slanted roof like this? It might slide right off the top. So, architects had a great idea to build the roof of a hospital and make it flat, just like that, so that the helicopter could come and land safely on top. Isn't that smart? Now, let's continue the story and see if we were right.
Because so nothing doesn't crash into
What about this right here?
the
It needs the roof for what to land?
helicopter.
The helicopter. Not every building turns out the way it was planned. This tower was supposed to stand straight. Instead, one side sank slightly into the ground.
Oh.
Teamwork makes it possible for people to build many kinds of structures. What do you think these people are building?
A playground.
A
A
playground.
playground. Did you hear that? Teamwork. People work together to build things. And you do too. Just like in our classroom when we're playing with our blocks and you give your friend a play idea. Hey, let's make a castle. You build this side, I'll build this side, and then we'll put it together. So we are working as a team to build something. We are all builders in our own way.
Playground. With the right materials, design, and planning, people can build almost anything they can imagine.
And that is the
At a time when
end. Great job, friends. I hope that you enjoyed our story. And
most universities look like this.
Sorry about that. I hope you enjoyed our story and I hope that you learned so much. We learned that we can all be builders when we're at home playing with our toys or our blocks and we're putting things together and building and stacking on top. We're being builders or architects. Can you say that word? Architects or builders. We are all builders and we can build as a team, just like we do in school when you build castles and houses and mansions with your friends. That way we are working as a team and building together. I hope that you enjoyed this story. I hope that you got your work done for today. One more time, we're going to review what mommy and daddy should take a picture of. We drew some awesome shapes today. Do you remember what shapes we drew? We drew some circles, some squares, some triangles, and rectangles. So make sure that your name is at the top of your paper. The date, January 7, 2022. And that mommy and daddy take a picture of your work to send to Miss Lindsay so I can give you your points for today. Thank you so much for joining us, friends. I hope you have a great day and a great weekend, and I can't wait to see you again on Monday. I love you. I miss you. Have a great weekend.